Three, two, one.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've decided to mostly prioritize Assassin's Creed specifically. I love Assassin's Creed and will always love it. I've platinumed 5 games of the franchise. I'll do another set of rankings of Assassin's Creed games when I platinum another 5, and then for part 3, I rank them all when I am done with platinuming the series. My platinums for this video are the following and what I'll be working with: Unity, Syndicate, Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. A large portion of reasonings shall be my own subjective enjoyment. While I will involve objective reasoning, it can in fact be thrown out the window if an objective masterpiece hardly brings enjoyment. If you want an example of a lack of subjective enjoyment, but as a masterclass of game design, look to Genshin Impact. Probably has the best gacha design period, improves Breath of the Wild's UI, has better looking characters, and occasionally has scenes that has impressed me with both dialogue and animation, but for some inexplicable reason, I can't enjoy playing it for more than an hour or two. The lesson here is that you can like something objectively bad and dislike something objectively good. It's a separate but equal scenario. So let us begin. Last place, Valhalla. My god. Both objectively speaking and subjective enjoyment, this game was fucking horrendous. Egregious loading screen times that make Odyssey seem like it specializes in brevity. Bland protagonist, if a tad well written. A myriad of technical issues that weren't prevalent even in my experience with Odyssey. The fact that the storyline with the Order of the Ancients being Walmart Cult of the Cosmos, which, to be fair, if you're going to copy a storyline, Cosmos is a good idea, that ultimately misunderstands the problems and good traits that the Cult of the Cosmos had, and mostly copies the structure and ending of said storyline, but has no concept or meaning as to the impacts on the world that the Cult of the Cosmos had. So ultimately, it feels more like a chore that's a carbon copy than a gripping story about a faction that drew from name value, such as the Order of the Ancients. But the worst part? One certain special event. One you'll probably never have to worry about. The Escoria Festival. This special event single-handedly broke Valhalla while it was around. To describe this event's glitch properly, I would attribute it as the following visual analogy. A star with planets orbiting around it akin to our solar system. Why this analogy? Well, 2 things hook you into it. First being is the base requirement of being in a party with another character. It includes characters like Ranvi. Lol, I almost put Cassandra in the script, which would be funny. And various other members of the settlement. The second is the activation of the Escoria Festival to begin with. It has the same level of gravity as a solar system where your character is planet Earth, your secondary partner is the moon, and the Escoria Festival is the center star. If you start a quest that involves a companion, if you go too far of a distance with them, no matter where you go, it will take you back to the square with the boat and the same effing cutscene. There are a few things to do to get around it. 1. Fast travel. Fast travel removes your ability to be partnered with a character entirely, making your time much easier and able to avoid issues with the Escoria Festival. However, the solution is only temporary and still exists once you go back to the settlement because it loops you back to that quest. Here's the more permanent solution, and it's both taxing, convoluted, and discovered accidentally by yours truly. Having an alternate account. So how this works is that you make an alternate account, or if you're like me, use an already pre-established account you already had, don't ask, and switch your game's account that you're registered to. What happens is that it changes up your registry in-game. You have to switch to that new account, close out of the game, register to the previous account, restart the game app. Your other account will be registered to the game, and you'll be able to play through any necessary quests stuck with the Escoria Festival. Kind of like Pluto. Think of it like that. Pluto used to be a star in the solar system, or a planet in the solar system. Now it's not anymore. Yeah, I need to stop. I need to fucking stop. Make sure you do not trigger any quests related to Escoria Festival quests or other quests involving a companion, as you would have to repeat this process continuously. I legitimately found the solution on accident when trying to deal with the Ubisoft help team. I found the solution out by pure coincidence. This alternate account method fixed my issue, but barely. Also, use the same process if you wish to switch back to the original account to play the rest of the game. This massive glitch is so broken, so unprecedented, and so fucking ridiculous that it proves to not only be objectively bad on a completely different scale than ever, it also affects subjective enjoyment, where the next entry is miles better than it. Assassin's Creed Unity. Speaking of glitches, this one is riddled by them as well, but thankfully they're mostly cosmetic and, even better, meme-worthy. I only have two pieces of contention with this game, and it has nothing to do with its glitches. Its parkour is extremely poorly communicated and badly programmed. Time after time, during moments where I tried to run up a wall, the character model just derps against the wall like it's getting anal fucked against it. I've repeatedly expressed frustration at this Brokeback Mountain level of tomfoolery, because I should be able to free run up and free run down when it has been shown to work in the past. This complaint may seem pedantic at first, but only if you've played for a few hours. But when you're a couple of hundred of hours in and get fucked over in a variety of scenarios where free running up or down is necessary in completing a mission, or even the simplest of things like trying to leap of faith, only to find yourself synchronizing time after time, or when trying to leap of faith but ultimately just free jumping instead. Arno is a fucking idiot. He may be a likable baka, but Arno is the lost creed, that was a botch. But Arno is the lost cause of Assassin's Creed protagonists. Here I thought it would be Jacob Fry, but Jacob Fry gets into far less trouble with his shenanigans than Mr. Grab Elise by the pussy. Seriously, the guy, Arno, seems to think he's going to grab puss, but in truth he's just going to get cucked. Yet here I thought that was an America exclusive meme. Sure, Arno is likable and gets a sympathetic backstory. Yet his backstory and development comes at the end of the story. I mean, come on. We need Arno at his most mature. Think of Ezio. He and Arno used to be brash and emotional people. But as time goes on, and events put their characters into development, we should see the results of maturation, but more importantly, its payoff. Arno is just an incomplete Ezio. Yet I feel dirty and disgusted because of ever remotely coming to the idea of comparing Arno's beta cuck ass with the gloriousness of Ezio. Other than that, Unity is a solid game to experience. Syndicate. This one ranks above Unity and Valhalla. Other YouTubes pointed out flaws I did not notice when playing the base game. However, on the scale of personal enjoyment, one specific aspect personally edges Syndicate above Unity. Jack the Ripper. My god, is that story glorious. Not only is Jack a former assassin, but I'd argue he's physically the strongest. In fact, I'd argue he's as strong as the demigod Alexios/Cassandra, and yet he's simply superhuman because his mental and emotional faculties being compromised. It's actually pretty accurate to some developmental disorders as well, because sometimes the development of pain sensitivity can be skewed. So it could end up being that a mere human like Jack the Ripper, who despite his clear developmental disorders, or probably even because of them, is also a trained assassin. I believe only Alexios/Cassandra and Eivor can legitimately terrify enemies with a fucking roar, dude. Not to mention that Assassin's Creed revises the original Jack the Ripper's character slightly, as well as it was previously asserted that the OG Jack the Ripper murdered prostitutes. The game's Jack, though, murdered prostitutes that were assassins. They turned an obvious misogynist with mental issues into a nuanced character who has some shred of morality. He talks about how the Creed cannot protect anyone, which is a solemn purpose behind the assassins in the first place. In fact, he mentions this hypocrisy overall. In essence, Jack kills prostitute assassins based on a sense of purism of the assassins. It is one of those few times that SJW agendas actually enhance the story. The one time where going woke does not equate to going broke. If you wonder what I mean, Ubisoft is notoriously far left, and women being killed by a misogynist isn't exactly very 2010s of them. As a result, they instead make it about Jack's morality, which, to be honest, in my opinion, is the right call instead of one-for-one a portrayal of the original Jack. The music, the presentation of Jack's point of view, everything about Jack the Ripper is incredible. If you don't want to play Syndicate all the way through, at least play until long enough to fight Jack and beat the story. I heavily enjoyed both, and I wish they would bring back some sort of zipline tool. Origins. Origins has only one major detriment to it, and it's entirely subjective for my enjoyment. It is set in the Ptolemy era Egypt. I spent far too much time in my own history studies with Egypt, and Egypt just doesn't interest me. The wonders it has, the environment it has, and its politics are absolutely boring on their own. What Origin does right is legitimately everything else. The historical accuracy involving Greeks and Romans. It even has Final Fantasy 15 weapons in it, which is just fucking hilarious on a subjective scale. Bayek as a protagonist, while not my favorite by far, is powerful in his strength of character. In all fairness, there is arguably no one more vicious, violent, and visceral in emotional character and impact since Connor Kenway in Bayek. A large part of it is the voice work and how the characters are emoted, but a massive portion of it is the general revenge plot and his involvement in fighting the Order of the Ancients, which is actually in this story in their own actual thing. The Order of the Ancients isn't disappointing like they were in Valhalla. I love how the first couple hours are a tone-setting level of violence for an intro to Bayek's character. I have friends who like Origins the most, and other than my pedantic gripes with its setting, I can absolutely 100% see why. He's a new generation Connor Kenway, possibly, maybe even better. Other characters are a bit less respectful than Bayek, but to be honest, comparing any other character to such a force personality like Bayek is completely unfair. I enjoyed it immensely, but nowhere near as much as the next game. But for fairness' sake, it's damn close in enjoyment. Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is fucking incredible. I loved playing as Alexios. I loved how I was basically playing 300, Beowulf, or Troy. Alexios is incredibly likable and amiable. Yeah, I played as Alexios because I'm sadly used to the general setting involved being male-centric. Maybe some ladies out there can find some female protags of the general Greek Peloponnesian era that this is a part of, but sadly the stuff I've seen has females as sex objects and nothing more, unfortunately. However, I'm willing to be shown some content that accurately depicts female main protagonist roles in that setting. Not only that, but you can also cuckold people in the game, which, that's fucking hilarious. You can even have children in the DLC, which is a point of contention for many people of certain persuasions. Fight the best group in Cult of the Cosmos. The spear Alexios uses is phenomenal and has brutal takedown animations that, well, makes Eivor look weak in comparison. Your mileage may vary on whether you can enjoy the DLC or not. Mostly I related to Alexios' journey and trying to find answers in his life, and I can relate to his mercenary lifestyle. Not to mention that some of the best side characters are in this game. Even if you don't find this game to be one of your best, overall it is in the top tier of all of my Assassin's Creed games that I've played. Last but not least, the general perspective of these ranked games I have of these is as follows. Valhalla is gross and terrible. Unity is meh levels of bad. Syndicate is just mid and would be meh terrible without Jack the Ripper. Whereas Origins and Odyssey are some of the most solid titles in the series, period. I am partially hoping that this commentary is far more lighthearted than the video previously released, as the subject matter of the previous video is heavier and possibly makes people feel pain, and I don't really want that. That's not the aim. I made that video based on a combination of fiction writing knowledge and political theory. The goal with that video is to validate origin points, and since I'm pro-trans rights, despite its subject matter. I hope my Assassin's Creed rankings are dumb and silly enough of a video that it is able to shift tone. I generally come up with issues to be tackled in these commentaries for the sake of information, with alternate perspectives. I seek a better world, and if my views and ideas create that path, then I'll pursue it. I love a lot of things in life, such as Assassin's Creed. I want everyone to know that no matter who you are, there will always be those who can love you. So, before anyone else, love yourself. Thank you for watching. Another rankings video is coming soon with a unique spin. Also, I'll be streaming a combo of Final Fantasy Soviet Russia 15 and Assassin's Creed Ezio Trilogy, and I hope to see you there. Hey guys, thank you for watching. You know, I have a few videos coming up. One is a reflection and award ceremony for the games I platinumed and played last year. That's going to be the next commentary video, and then the one after that, it's going to be a massive atomic bomb on the franchise series as a whole. I'm thinking an old project of mine, a Neptunia Grand Retrospective. It's probably going to be very long because I've had several document files on this retrospective. And so I'm reviving this project with the addition of Super Nep RPG, Neptunian Virtual Stars, and Ninja Wars all in the bag ever since those video files. So I'm going to take what I learned from those past 3 games and apply it to the old retrospective I was going to be doing. With that, ladies and gentlemen, now I shall finish, and I hope you have a nice day.